So you're thinking about moving to the Portland metro area, but you maybe aren't sure where things are at, really what the area is like or anything like that. Well, you found the perfect video, because today I'm going to give kind of a 20,000 foot view lay of the land map tour of the Portland metro area, just to kind of show you some of the major components, show you where some of the suburbs are, some of the main features, so you can see a little bit more about what Portland is like as you're exploring the areas. Hi, I'm Ben Nelson, and I am a real estate broker here in the Portland metro area. I do a lot of videos on this channel about neighborhoods, about lifestyle. We do some really cool things with some of our guests for the show that I'm a part of. So this is the spot to be if you want to learn more about Portland, what lifestyle is like here, see some really cool things to do in the area, and just have that knowledge. Whether you are looking to move to the area or already are here and just enjoy learning more and seeing some new things. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos, whether it's home tours, neighborhood tours, or getting out and meeting some really cool guests. By the way, along with us for the tour today is my little girl Cosmo here. Say hi, Cosmo, or just wiggle my fingers. So you may see her pop in and out of the frame now and then hopefully she's not too much of a distraction, although she is adorable, right? So she'll be hanging out with us today a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna start pretty basic here, just with the general where Portland is in regards to the rest of the area here. So here's Portland right here. You're in basically the northwest corner of Oregon. There's just a lot to love about. As soon as you start zooming out, you just kind of see some of the things that make the area so great here. And I'll start pointing them out here. But Portland, here's the Portland, what's considered the Portland metro area right here. Depending on who you ask, it may expand out into, Oregon wine country here a little bit, but certainly the RMLS reports include a lot of this stuff. So, again, depending on who you ask, Portland metro area. And then you have Salem down here to the south, which is the capital. And then here's again where you can start to see, just from a lifestyle perspective and outdoors, there's just so much to enjoy here, so much going on. You have, Mount Hood out here to the east. You have the Oregon coast out here. You have the Columbia River. So this is Washington State right here. Portland, I forgot to mention that earlier, Portland is right up against the border of the northern border of Oregon here, and right on the other side of the river is Washington. So you have the Columbia River here, you have the Willamette River right here, and this is a major, just kind of sidebar, this is a major dividing point for Portland. So you have the Willamette River flowing right through Portland, which is a really cool feature, obviously, just from a lifestyle perspective, for views, all of those things that the water brings. But it also is the differentiation point of East Portland versus West Portland. So if you hear somebody talk about, East Portland, it's going to be east of the river. West Portland is going to be west of the river. And then, just like lots and lots of green space. You have natural areas, natural forests. You have, and it's not just all of this out here. You have all of these state forest, Tillamook State Forest out here, just a lot of that. But you even start zooming in to the city, and you just have lots of it here in Portland. So if you're into outdoors, if you're into activities and hiking and biking, and I get into this a little bit in my pros and cons video as well, so if you haven't seen that one, make sure you check that out too. But just lots of opportunity to get out. We're really big on parks and preservations and reservations and all of those things to kind of keep those green spaces. You can just see it as you're going all through here. Tualatin River National Wildlife Refuge. You have these natural areas here. You have the Oregon Zoo, and you have Forest Park up here, just like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, urban park in the country. So it's right next to downtown, and you have all this natural forest area to hike and explore and nature and all that stuff. So airport, if that's important to you, is right along the river here, North Portland. And so that's just kind of generally where things are at, just really broad, big picture. An hour and a half to the mountain, about the same, maybe a little bit more to the coast. You're basically about an hour to less than that for if you get a good traffic day. To Salem, and then you've got Oregon wine, which I zoomed out before but didn't really mention. So this is Oregon wine country out here. Kind of starts with Newberg and then branches out this way into the hills here. Got the mountains here. That you kind of start to drive into the valley as you come this way through Sherwood and into Oregon wine country. Okay, let's talk a little bit about getting around, because that's important, especially if you're looking at job opportunities and a commute and things like that. And so the road system's a little different everywhere you go, right? So some major cities you'll see kind of that ring around the city, and everything kind of spider webbing out from there. We're set up a little bit different, and we have some kind of natural constraints and some things like that. So but here's where, so you've got Highway 26 here. This is what comes from, you got your westernmost suburbs, which we'll get into the suburbs here in a little bit, just kind of talk through a little bit of those. So if you're taking those into Portland, you're probably going to take 26. This also goes out towards the coast if you want to go that way. You can also take, sidebar again, but so you've got a couple ways out to the coast. You got 26, depending on if you're going north coast, like far north, or somewhere closer towards the middle. And so you've got Highway 18 as well, which is right here from McMinnville, that branches out and goes down here to that part of the coast. And then so your main roads from wine country, you've got Highway 99, so that's going to be your main commute road here to get into Portland. 217 basically connects 99 and 26. It actually continues on here down to I-5 too. So I-5 is your main thoroughfare from north-south. So this goes all the way down into California, actually way further than that, but I think it actually goes all the way to Mexico, but we're not talking about that right now. So it does go for sure. It is your north-south road down into down towards Salem and that way. And then you have 205, which is this other road that loops around kind of the other side of Portland. So you're getting into East Portland here. So you can either take I-5 into Portland and get right here and get, right downtown, or close in east side, or you can loop around 205, which is going to bring you a little bit further out towards the east. And then obviously up here, so you can take this way, and then here's 84. 84 basically connects from up here at where I-5 comes around, and then heads out towards the eastern part of the state down the gorge. And then you have 26 here too. So I mentioned 26 earlier from the west side. It does continue on here and heads out east towards the mountain. The other thing you have here is you have actually pretty good public transportation. It's actually been rated one of the better ones in the country a number of times. And that's a combination of different, types. There's bus lines and things like that. But then light rail is a big part of that. So there's the light rail system that the main line basically, actually, I think if I type it in here, it will show it, sort of. It doesn't really show it on the map very well, but it kind of shows the stops, right? So you can see it comes out here from Hillsboro, and it connects up here, Tanasbourne area down here, and then into downtown. There's other lines that go a little bit like down towards Milwaukee, and then up towards the airport, and then out towards Gresham. So that does get you some additional transportation options as well if you want to take public transport. Not have to worry about parking, things like that. Obviously there's pluses and minuses of that, so you got to decide that, but it is there and available if you want it, and that's kind of the general look of one of the main lines right here from the west side into downtown. Okay, real quick, I just wanted to talk about a couple major employers. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here in Portland for employment. There's a lot of tech. There's a couple pretty big clothing manufacturers. There's obviously the wine industry and some things like that are in Oregon wine country, and a bunch of other things. Is pretty strong job market, really. Certainly there's more than this, but a couple of the main larger employers that get talked about a lot are Nike and Intel, because they just bring a ton of jobs to the area. And so just to kind of show you, if you're looking for a job like that, you're probably gonna want to know where that's at, and you can comparison to everything else. So here's Intel right here, right next to the Hillsboro airport, basically 26. So that's kind of where you're going to be looking at. Now, obviously you can commute, but if you're right in Hillsboro or, you know, like West Beaverton, Aloha area, you're going to be pretty close for that. And then Nike campus is right over here. Well, there, yep, there it is. So Nike campus is right here is Nike campus. Again, kind of like right off 26, but a little bit like more Cedar Hills, Beaverton area. And again, much more going on in the job market than just that. Everything from, you know, hospitality, travel, you know, there's decent tourism in the area, you know, all the way up to the big employers, Intel and Nike, and kind of everything in between. Lots of tech startups, lots of tech, you know, is definitely going on here. It's a big tech hub. And so that's, if you're in tech, it's definitely a great market for that. Okay, now let's jump into some of the different suburbs. We'll dive maybe even into some of the neighborhoods. I definitely can't hit everything. Again, this is supposed to be kind of a 20,000 foot overview of where things are at, but I'll try to point out some key components or you know, main neighborhoods as I can. So again, east west is going to be, if you're talking about Portland itself, is going to be, you know, divided from the Willamette River. Here is going to be that dividing point, right? So you got east over here, and you got west over here. On the east side, there's some really cool neighborhoods in the east. So this is, and you've got downtowns right here, by the way. There's some really neat, not just east side, there's definitely some cool stuff on the west side, which we'll get into too, but the east side has some really neat, kind of like just classic neighborhoods. So I love Sherwood, Moreland, right? It's right on the river here. You have, again, a lot of that classic. Now there's been some infill, there's been some new construction, some new development, things like that, but just a really neat walkable neighborhood with classic homes and just a great neighborhood. And then you've got Woodstock, kind of East Moreland in this area, another great neighborhood area there. You have the golf course, East Moreland Golf Course right here. So great pocket, close in. If you want kind of a higher end neighborhood, there's going to be some great homes in here. There's going to be some great opportunity, and you're really close, obviously, to downtown Portland. So pretty easy commute there. Out here you have Happy Valley. This area has grown a ton over the years, just as the city has continued to expand. So again, you're just kind of moving out a little bit further to the east. And then up here is you have Gresham, like further out east, Gresham, Troutdale, Wood Village, Fairview up here. This is kind of your far east. They're considered East Portland, but they're separate. They're not Portland. They're Gresham, and in all those areas. So, and then kind of heading back towards the city. Again, some great neighborhoods in here. You have Mount Tabor right here, and then close in southeast, some more neighborhoods. This Hawthorne area is fantastic. Lots of stuff going on down here. Very walkable. Just a lot to do in this area. Belmont, and then this is like, how often do you see this? By the way, this is one I have to point out when we're here, because you see the grid of the city, right? And then look, you got all the roads going this way, nice and organized. North, south, east, west. And then you have what is going on here, right? So Ladd's Addition, very unique. Obviously, you can see how they designed this. There's this roundabout here in the middle. There's these parks here. And there's actually like a coffee shop in the middle and some things like that. It's a very unique neighborhood, very highly desired, classic homes, just really neat. If you want a one-of-a-kind neighborhood and a one-of-a-kind home, Ladd's Addition's where it's at, and you're right in the heart of the city, right here, close in east side, right across the river from downtown. So great little spot there. Definitely not the cheapest for that very reason, but a really cool neighborhood. Okay, let's keep moving. Again, just kind of showing where your things are at. So you got downtown here. That I pointed out before. You have, Forest Park, the Oregon Zoo, all of that right at your fingertips. And then we'll zoom out a little bit more here. So you got the West Hills. This is, and you've got Southwest Portland. There's some, again, great neighborhoods in here. They're all just a little bit different. You're going to find a lot of different things here. I mean, you've got the hills going on here. So you've got, some down this way a little bit more. You've got a little bit more, growth. And then up here, you're going to find a lot of stuff, kind of in the hills. That's why you got all these curvy roads, and you just kind of got houses, filled in here in the hill area. Coming out to the west, you have Beaverton, Cedar Hills, Aloha. These are large areas. There's a lot going on here. I don't think I talked about these roads, but yeah, so these are a couple like secondary, I mean, they're main roads if you're in this area. They're definitely not as big as, these main arterials, but you've got Highway 8 here, Highway 10 there, that, are other roads that you can take towards, getting out of Hillsboro and Beaverton. So you're gonna go Beaverton, Aloha, and then you're gonna work your way out towards Hillsboro, and then you've got Cornelius here and Forest Grove, which is like the furthest most. You can see there's an airport out here in Hillsboro as well, obviously a smaller one than the main Portland one that we pointed out earlier. And then up here you have this area called Bethany. Bethany is technically not actually a city. It's an unincorporated town, or whatever you want to call it, in Washington County. So, but it is like one of the most sought after, most desired areas in Portland. Great schools. They've got their Bethany Village, which is like super walkable, and I'm trying to remember where it's at in here, but like this is a well thought out, designed community area that has just continued to grow. Again, not going to be your cheapest price point for homes, but if you're looking for great schools and a really quality neighborhood and lots of things, around you, parks and the village and all of that stuff, this is a really good option for you. Let's drop down this way. So we'll go back kind of towards the city. Back down right here, you've got Lake Oswego. You got the lake here. Most expensive city, median home price in the Portland metro area. Very highly desired. You've got some older homes. You got some smaller homes. You've also got your multi-million-dollar, very large homes on the lake. I mean, this is prime real estate along the lake here. There's obviously only so many homes that can be built on there, and so this is like your prime, most expensive area. Also excellent schools, great downtown right here, just very walkable. This first edition neighborhood's really neat. Just you have some new construction. Like a lot of these areas, the older areas just get that infill start happening, but you've got some really cool classic homes in there as well. So got the country club here. So Lake Oswego is definitely highly sought after. If you can afford the price point, it's a great spot to be. And then down here you got West Linn, also great schools, and it's this is another great little spot. There's lots going on there right along the river. This is where you're going to find a lot of salmon fishing. You're going to have salmon fishing right along here. A lot of people like to hang out right in here, right below the falls, which if you haven't, I did a short little video about downtown Oregon City. We talked about the Willamette Falls and some of those things, the history of Oregon City. Neat downtown, lots of history in this area. Check that video out if you haven't already, but I talk a little bit more about that in that video. So Willamette Falls here, Oregon City is right here, branches out quite a bit, but your downtown is right in here on this main street. And then out here, you got Canby right here, and Canby has grown a lot. You got some new construction developments going in here for sure, and they've got a growing and improving downtown as well. Actually, I don't have a lot of time to jump over to it, but I hadn't been into Hillsboro's downtown in a while. I just did a segment with somebody that has a business down there. Make sure you check that out as well. More to come soon on that. The Hillsboro downtown I was impressed. It's right here on Main Street. It's really where it's at. So here's downtown, somewhere right in there, and it's neat. I love downtowns. I geek out on them. I think the older buildings and then the revitalization and just like all the things at your fingertips. I just really love downtown. So Hillsboro is a great downtown. Probably it may have topped. I love McMinnville's downtown as well, but you know, that's another good one too. I talked about, okay, Oregon City can be. You got some smaller towns down here, Aurora, Hubbard, and then Woodburn. There's an Amazon distribution center that went in here a while back. So this has grown a ton too. Butteville's a tiny little community. There's like a bunch of homes along the river here that are pretty sought after because you're right on the river, and it's just, there's just not very many of them available. So Wilsonville, great community here in Wilsonville. There's a couple, so Wilsonville, also really great schools, part of the Wilsonville Westland School District. And there's a couple really neat, I dove a little bit deeper into this in a walking tour. So make sure you check that video out too. I get kind of on the streets and look at some of these. But right here is Villebois, and that is a really cool community. Tons of parks, Central Village, just kind of the European style design and vibe. Really neat community there. And then you have Charbonneau right here, also really well thought out. And you have it's all around the golf course here. You have the golf course, you have parks, you have a huge variety of housing types. So you know, condos to, you know, high-end homes. And so that's another great neighborhood there. I like Wilsonville a lot. I live right on the edge of Wilsonville, so I'm a little bit biased. And then out towards wine country here out west, I almost skipped. You got Tualatin and Tigard here, a couple more suburbs here in, you know, the west side, Bull Mountain area here. This area is all new development right here. They put this school in right here, huge school not too long ago, and all of this is getting developed. There's just tons of development going on. So new home, good school district, west suburbs, good options for you there. And then Sherwood, also great schools here. They are kind of smaller town, but they're continuing to expand. They've talked, they don't want to be a bedroom community to Portland. They want to be their own community, and so a lot of the stuff they do is with that kind of mindset. There's a huge project they're working towards expanding the west side of Sherwood. There's new construction down, you know, this way that's happening. Some new homes there. This is a bigger plan, but they got a big expansion that they're working on, adding tons of homes in here, and I think it's going to be pretty well thought out, like some of those ones I pointed out in Wilsonville earlier, parks and things like that, which I mean, Sherwood just is really good at that overall anyway, about, you know, walkability and walking paths and connecting things and having nice quality parks. So I'm confident that they will, you know, incorporate that. And then here you've got, as you're heading out towards wine country, you have the mountains here. So you have Chehalem Mountain over here, and you have Parrot Mountain right here, not like the bird parrot, like it's one of the original families in the area. But you got the mountains there, so you're kind of driving down as you're coming down 99, coming down into the valley, and you enter into what's called the gateway to wine country, Newberg. And then now you're in wine country, and you've got Newberg, Dundee, which kind of operate together, and then you have McMinnville, which is out here, which is the largest city in Yamhill County, and you've got lots of, you know, that's where all the central government is for wine country, or for Yamhill County. And then this is all wine country. You got tasting rooms, vineyards, wineries. You've got bed and breakfast stuff. You know, you've got lots of stuff, lots of hospitality and wine industry in this area. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Again, that was a lot in a short amount of time, but this wasn't meant to go deep into any of these. It was really meant to, again, to give you that broad 20,000 foot view. You know, where's everything at? What is the layout? Where are those suburbs? What are the main, you know, components and natural features and all of that? So hopefully it accomplished that. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you check out some of my other videos, which dive a little bit deeper into some of these communities, some of these suburbs, and we'll continue to explore more of them. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more future videos as we continue to dive deeper into some of these areas and explore Portland together and visit some really cool places. Also, make sure you reach out and connect when you're ready. You can fill out the form below and I'll connect with you as soon as possible. or you can always just give me a call, shoot me an email, find me on social media, and I would love to connect with you, chat a little bit more about what you're looking to do, and see if we can help you get from where you are to where you're trying to go. Thanks again for watching.